Hey, yo, one
Yo,
more for the good guys. One more W. One more week. It's Keds and Canuck back at you. Superflex Fantasy Football Show. Live and direct with my man D Nice holding it down right here on Keds and Canuck channel on YouTube, or you can catch me right here on your Twitch stream, or you can catch me live and direct on my Facebook if you're lucky enough to be connected. That being said, give us some like, share, subscribe, love. Also, feel free to jump in, join in the chat. Give us your fantasy football questions and inquiries, and me and my guy D will do what we can to chop it up and make heads or tails of it. It's been a pretty good go so far for the season. We've gone and made it through to week 5. It's bye week for those Bears fans like yourself and myself. And we'll see what week 5 has in store for the fantasy football faithful. D, how was your week, man? How are things?
solid, man. Cannot complain. Another win for me in fantasy. Another win, like I said, another win for the good guys, the Chicago Bears. It's 2 in a row. It's been a while since we've been able to say that
That's true.
in the win column anyway. So, we rolling.
Back to back for the Bears, man. You're right, man.
Yeah.
One more W for the good guys. It's surprising. I'm happy with it. Again, my fantasy football foray was a split mission. Up in one league, down on the other league, but we keep on rolling. We keep on trucking. You know what I mean? Excuses are for losers. You know what I mean? We'll leave that alone.
Stay locked in, baby. Stay locked in.
That's it. It's the process. It's all about the process. Follow the process. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. First couple of weeks, just league wide, things was just starting to shake up and make a little bit of sense. Now we're into that, oh snap, I'm injured part of the season. That's basically where we are.
Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen. A lot of folks have been stricken with the injury bug, and I mean a lot of folks who have big names and big expectations. And we'll get into a little bit of that as we go through what we think week 4 looked like and what week 5 will look like, and make some suggestions. Start, sit 'em, good guys versus bad guys, and waiver wire, etc., as well as some injury news pretty clearly. So to be frank with you, I think I'm going to start out with just some of these injuries that y'all should be paying attention to, because it's middle of injury, right? So
absolutely.
I'll just start and just quickly say Joe Burrow's out. We're well aware Joe Burrow was out. Reason why that I bring that up very quickly is that's going to have an adverse effect on those wide receivers in Cincinnati. Do what thou wilt in this regard. Right? Jamar Chase is understandably, normally a lock to be top 3 wide receiver in this league. I don't know if that's the case this season, right? So take that for what it's worth. Speaking of hurt quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson is on that list. He's got an ankle, I believe. Oh, hamstring. So Lamar Jackson does a whole lot for that Baltimore Ravens offense. There's no real way to replace him. That does basically nerf the output for their wide receiver and tight end core, but it does increase the value of a Derrick Henry and a Justice Hill. Moving on, Malik Neighbors really hurt himself there, so he's going to be out with a torn ACL. He's out for the remainder of the season. He's going to have to get surgery. That makes things interesting with regards to the Giants. Either you're looking at Wan'Dale Robinson, or I believe Sterling Shepard is the last guy over there. Is that right? I think it's Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, so those would be your wide receiver looks now that Malik Neighbors is injured the way that he is. CeeDee Lamb, he should be coming back in a couple of weeks, but injured nonetheless. George Pickens is your guy. Turpin is your guy. If you're a Cowboys fan, or if you have a Cowboys handcuff, that's what it should look like for you. But on the flip side of all that, we're talking about Javonte Williams running the rock all the damn time, because that's what that's going to look like. Truly. Mike Evans is out. Just big Super Mike. Super Mike got hurt. He's got a hamstring issue. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks as well.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams as well. There's another one. The fact is, Puka Nacua is just carrying his team to victory, along with Matthew Stafford. They've got a special thing going on, so that's just going to continue on a little bit more, right? Ain't going to look much different in that regard. Just going to continue on and on. What else? Who else is out there doing the darn thing? Oh, Ricky Pearsall in San Francisco's hurt. He's been carrying a lot of the weight, I believe. And I have to double check on this one. I believe George Kittle may also be hurt too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then I won't double back and look. So I heard something about George Kittle. That wide receiver core and tight end core is hurting in San Francisco, which means it's truly the Christian McCaffrey show. But y'all know what's up with Christian McCaffrey, so call it like it is. Brandon Ayuk is also hurt. So there goes the whole wide receiver core for San Francisco 49ers. Terry McLaurin's down. Jaden Daniels is down. He may be coming back this week. We'll have to see. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yep.
JJ McCarthy, as folks are well aware, is also down. And then we had Tyreek Hill tear the ever 11F out of his knee. His knee's in a bad way. And I think that might round it out. Maybe I might be missing somebody. Hopefully I'm not. But that's kind of what things look like with respect to to.
And to everyone that's going through this, listen, you're not alone. I'm a victim of this as well. Get well soon. But my advice to you guys is to work the waiver wire early and often. You have to hit the free. Listen, timing is everything when it comes down to this waiver situation. So you have to work when you think the opposition is asleep. So this is a kind of a 24-hour thing with this waiver situation, because at any point, someone could be available that's gonna have a heavy usage rate this coming Sunday or Thursday or even Monday. So you guys have to manage your waiver wire accordingly, because listen, anything can happen. We're all going through injuries here, and I'm saying we because I am included. So, you guys got to get on here, man. If you're really serious about winning this thing, you have to get on here and do the work. You are a GM. This is your team. So, just like when these professional guys get hurt, these GMs and these upper management people are working the waiver wire to see who's available. You guys got to do the same thing.
That's 1,000,000,000% facts. This is really where management comes to play. Fantasy football is you are it is NFL GMing in a microcosm, right? Do what you can do and survive your way through all of this. I think there's still so many more guys I missed on this list. Brock Purdy is out. Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley is not hurt. He was just signed by the Browns. Cedric Tillman is hurt with respect to the Browns. He's gone down. There's such a long list of people who really really felt it these last couple of weeks. So keep your heads up, all y'all. We'll get through it and manage your stuff.
So look, kids, with all these injuries, right? Where do we start today? What position group would you like to start with today?
That is the question of the day, and I think okay, that is well played. All right, I think we're gonna go with the quarterback group today. I usually don't because, like I said last week, you should at this point be pretty well stocked and taken care of with respect to a quarterback. Except with quarterbacks being hurt out there, you may want
Mhm.
to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on. So I'm gonna bring up the good old sleeper.com right about now and share that with y'all so we can get down. All right. Okay. Um, let's do it a little bit different though. We're gonna look quarterback, not free agents. We're gonna look at them all. Let's see what's going on here, league wide. Actually,
And like you said, if you haven't done anything right, your quarterback position should be you should have your main starter, and you also should have insurance on your team if you've done this fantasy thing right. Guys go through bye weeks, and unfortunately, like we're facing, especially with owners of guys like uh my man out of Cincinnati, Joe Burrow.
Burrow.
He's out of commission, so you have to have a backup there. In a lot of these leagues, it's not a lot left, but what I've been seeing, and in multiple leagues, guys like Sam Darnold is available. And if you're in a position that you need Joe Burrow, something like that, Sam Darnold is a guy that you definitely have to jump on, man.
All right. So I'm just clicking on Spencer Rattler because he was at the bottom of the list. He was the first name that I saw. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination suggesting anybody do anything regarding Spencer Rattler and or the New Orleans Saints kind of as a whole, except for JSN. Like it's not a good look over there at all. But you said Sam Darnold, and I think that's a good place to actually start. I think that's a great place to start. So let's look at Sam. Mediocre to average numbers. If you need a guy, he's there for you. All right, he's there. Who are they playing this week? They're playing Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
Tampa Bay's. Oh, here's another one. Damn it! Like there's so many hurt individuals right now. So Bucky Irving
Yeah.
also went down. They are checking him out right now. He went in for an MRI this morning. So yeah. So if we're talking about T-Bay and we're talking air game without Mike and we're talking run game without Bucky,
Hmm.
Rashad White owners, you should be looking at Rashad and, um, you know, for folks who need a QB, Sam Darnold might be in a good position to do some damage against the Buccaneers this week. So
Yeah. I don't think starting Baker Mayfield will be a good idea this week. Seattle's pretty decent on defense, especially in the secondary. Uh, with with Baker being down so many weapons. Chris Godwin did come back, and he's available in some
okay,
leagues. So that's another thing. We'll get to wide receivers later, but
okay,
um, but Baker's gonna have to throw the ball a lot this week, and usually when he throws the ball a lot, it usually leads to turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions. So, buyer beware when it comes down to Baker Mayfield. If he's your best option, then so be it. But if you have a number two there, I think the QB2 should be in the lineup this week.
that might be the case, and hopefully it ain't this guy. I don't trust this situation whatsoever. What say you on Cooper Rush?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's kind of what I say
But
too.
don't get me wrong, Cooper Rush, when he had his opportunity in Dallas, of course under Mike McCarthy, he did play. He played well. He played decent. It wasn't terrible.
That's true.
It started off a little shaky, but ooh, nah. To ride with him in fantasy, you'll be definitely rolling the dice.
Yeah, that's a crapshoot if I've ever heard of one, and I love craps. Um, Real talk. I don't love this Cooper Rush situation though. Put
Nah.
it the way that it should be. This would be a bit of a buyer beware situation for sure. But then there's a guy like this guy who didn't do terrible on his debut. Okay? So for all those who watch this game, the thing about he's no way. Like, looky here, y'all. Like, are you kidding me? So he's hurt. Like, let's put it out there, considering what we're talking about. Even Jackson Dart is hurt. He's got a hamstring issue. We'll see how he makes it through the week. If he makes it through the week and he can start, great. The fact is, young rookie's got a decent arm, but he will run the ball. Rostered in 35% of leagues, started in 11. There's he put up 20 points last week as a quarterback, which is not crazy. I really like what Cam Scatterbo's doing over there.
Yeah.
Wandale and Jalen Hyatt, I guess.
Slayton.
Slayton.
Yeah.
There's my guy. All right.
Yeah,
so Wandale and Darius.
Slayton's been there for the longest.
He's one of my favorite wide receivers in the league. I have to say,
he'll sneak up on you.
I've had him over the course of many fantasy football seasons as just a bench warmer, and sometimes you pull him out, and almost once a season he's good for a really solid game. So beware, keep your eyes peeled on Darius Slayton. Have one single breakout game. I'm gonna assume, I guess with Neighbors out for the season, it could be any time this year, but there will be a Darius Slayton breakout game. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a guy that you can keep your eyes peeled on if you really need a quarterback. Jackson Dart's a good look, but as stated, hamstring issue right now. Maybe not a good look this week.
I tell you this. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No.
Jackson Dart don't go this week. I'm rolling with Jameis versus former team all day long. I think that's a sneaky one. I think Jameis gets it done versus the Saints if he gets the opportunity to play. In a major way.
You just blew my mind. And would they play Jameis over? Jameis is healthy and active for week 4. So he was a healthy scratch week 4, which is weird.
If Dart's not able to go.
But what about Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson's gone, man.
No, he ain't gone.
He mentioned that he was retiring.
He's retiring?
That was the word.
No.
He's going. Yeah, that's the word, man. He's done with the Giants.
Okay.
Now, I mean, you guys in the chat, listen, if I'm wrong, you guys in the chat can correct me, but last I heard, he is absolutely done with New York Giants.
Well, that was fast. You know what I mean?
Shit.
that was quick. Yeah, you have a 3-pick foray after a 450-yard game. You know what I mean? I don't know what you do here, man. I don't know what you do. So what they did is they said, screw it, we'll just put the rookie in. And the rookie didn't do so bad, which is fine.
He managed the game.
He did. He did not do so bad. Now, I would, again, like I said about Darius Slayton, secretly love Jameis Winston as well. You know what I mean? Like, Jameis Winston is might be the funniest quarterback in the league. He's hilarious. He is hilarious. He's so funny just to watch, just to witness and listen to.
Yeah,
and I'm in for it. If I've got some quarterback attrition, which I do, because I've got Jaden Daniels stacked on 2 teams, maybe. But I do have Marcus Mariota as a backup in both cases, which is not terrible. So for all y'all Jaden Daniels folks out there, take a quick peek at Marcus Mariota.
He didn't do too bad for you last week, did he?
No, he didn't do too bad at all. It wasn't great. The week before was a pretty good showing. So week before, 27 fantasy football points, 200 plus yards, at least a touchdown, 2 touchdowns this week, 17 fantasy football points, about 50 yards shy of last week's total, but he coughed up 2 picks.
Fumbles.
Fumbles and a pick. So there was a fair amount of turnover for him this time around versus last time around. But not like decent backup case scenario if you need it. He's not a world beater, but he's pretty close to still being the Marcus Mariota of old. I have to say it.
Yeah.
Gotta say it. Not terrible. But I wouldn't mind seeing Jameis. I got to say that as well.
Especially versus the Saints. That's must-see TV, bro.
That is revenge game.
Yeah.
And he will definitely call on the wrath of the Lord. Oh man, Lord deliver us from pick sixes.
Someone that's interesting that I see is also available on waivers. Joe Flacco. Flacco has an interesting matchup against Minnesota.
Are you sure? No, I don't mean about the matchup. I mean, like, he must have had one of the worst. Yeah, look.
Well, this is what I'm saying here. This is if you know what I'm saying, if you're in dire straits for QB play, you have to have somebody on your roster. I'm just talking about people that I know is probably available. You know what I mean? But Joe Flacco this is an interesting matchup that Flacco has versus Minnesota. Because I don't know if you really noticed that defense that they have over there, it's kind of suspect against veteran QBs. Veteran QBs seems to figure this Flores defense out pretty well, a la Aaron Rodgers last week. Now we already know from a physical ability standpoint, Aaron Rodgers is and was a great quarterback already.
Yep.
But Flacco was no slouch. These guys are veteran guys that's been around and seen everything. And I'm pretty sure that Flacco has seen this Flores defense 2 or 3 times in his career, you know what I'm saying, in different facets. So there is a window for him to have some type of success. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying he's going to throw for 4 or 5 scores. That's not what I'm saying, but he can get you a solid two scores. You know what I'm saying? He may throw a pick, but this is if you're in dire straits at the QB position.
Yes, dire straits indeed. So I have to agree with everything you just said, though, D. Like, I have to, because it's facts. Brian Flores' defense is custom made to make rookie and first 3-year quarterbacks. It's just made to confuse them. They don't know what's going on. They have to account for different things that they generally haven't seen before. And sometimes he just goes in and he doesn't even do all that stuff, which is confusing in itself, which is what we saw against the Minnesota Vikings. You do that stuff with a vet who's seen it all and been there, and it doesn't have the same effect, especially if you have some level of an offensive line. Now you're Aaron Rodgers in that situation. You can pick this thing apart. So I agree.
And then too, they're playing a team who has some quarterback issues as well, even though Carson Wentz put up some pretty big yardage, you know what I'm saying, going against that Pittsburgh defense. But Cleveland has a legit defense. And I think they can keep Flacco around to where the play calling doesn't have to be heavy in the pass game. It can be a lot of run and a lot of play action, could open things up for Njoku and for the young running back there from Ohio State that they drafted. So, this is an interesting spot that Joe Flacco could be in because, like I said, this is gonna be 2 teams battling to score points.
You're damn straight. You just made an interesting call. So I don't know what to say here. I'm gonna read what's in front of me because I would be remiss not to read it. So first couple of things to look at is just Joe's numbers over this season. They are not good. So 14 points week 1 against the Bengals, 9 against the Baltimore Ravens. Again, problem. The Green Bay Packers beat these guys up 4 points, 3 points, and this is at the quarterback position, y'all. You know what I mean? 3 points against the Detroit Lions. Things to be said. This is a pretty rough gamut of football for the Cleveland Browns. That's a pretty.
But hold on, kids. Pump the brakes for 1 second.
Yeah.
Just got news that the Browns are expected to bench Flacco this week.
Is where I'm going, brother. It's right here. I'm just giving the numbers. So they're looking at starting Dylan Gabriel, which flips everything you just said to right back into Brian Flores' favor.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but again, this is not a situation because only reason I'm saying it because of the Browns defense and where the Vikings are at QB. You know, this is still a situation where these guys are going to be battling for points. So it may not be a situation where Dylan Gabriel is in a lot of heavy pass situations, but you're absolutely right. They're feeding a hungry animal, putting that young man out there versus that Flores defense.
Yep, and their defense is no slouch either. This will be an interesting game to watch. Nobody's scoring. It down right now. Nobody's scoring at all. Justin Jefferson's going to be mad, and maybe if I had Mason or Judkins, I would be a happy guy. That's probably the best way to look at this football contest across the board. But I don't know what they do. Personally, I would stick with the vet in this situation, just given what you just said. If it doesn't work out this week, then go ahead and put Dylan Gabriel out there or whoever you want to start. But I hear what you're saying.
Putting that rookie out there is tough, man. That's a tough first start, man.
That's a bit of a mission to start things out with against this particular defense. Hell, we saw what Caleb Williams looked like against this defense the first time around. It was a problem, but he did figure things out quite a bit towards the end of the game. Speaking of that Minnesota Vikings team, rostered in 12% of leagues, started in 6. Ain't nobody got no Carson Wentz love, but he's putting up 30-point games.
Yeah, listen, bro. He threw for a lot of yardage last week, bro. Against that Pittsburgh defense. He threw for a whole lot.
Couple of tutties, couple of picks. Yeah, that sounds like Carson Wentz to me. But still.
But he was put in that situation, man. Like Pittsburgh had seemed to kind of run away with that game. Yeah. Like Pittsburgh had big plays early, and while Minnesota just seemingly going through the motions. So, that forced them to get into heavy pass mode. It took the run completely away from them. I'm not sure if Mason got double-digit carries or not. So
we'll take a quick peek at that just for the sake of conversation here. Where's Mason? He got 16. Not bad.
16. Yeah, it was a little crazy at first, man, because they weren't running them at all, bro. They might run them once every possession.
Yeah, those are pretty standard numbers for Jordan Mason. But yeah, there's another quarterback you guys can look at, as in Carson Wentz. Definitely worth a conversation. This guy had a decent game coming back, although it is what it's going to be. So take it for what it's worth. Justin Fields is going to go out there and probably get 50 to 100 yards on the ground. Just what he does. It's not necessarily going to be anything really popping in the air, but here and there, something will go. He's got a fantastic wide receiver in Garrett Williams.
Absolutely.
Wilson,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so a couple of tutties there for Justin. Decent numbers on his return after a couple games away due to injury as well. So I'm not sure how rostered and started he really is, but they're saying 69% rostered versus 35% started. If he's available floating around in your league, not bad. Especially, oh good goodness, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. This should be a fantastic game to watch. Justin Fields going to get a little bit of just a small modicum of revenge against Matt Eberflus's defense. Just going to put that out there right now. So
now the thing about Justin, it may not always look pretty at the end of the day, but he finds his way into the end zone. And as a fantasy owner, that's kind of what you want, by hook or by crook, get in the end zone. He finds his way to at least account for 2 or 3 touchdowns, you know what I mean? Either on the ground, and he may run for 2 and throw 1, or the opposite, but he finds his way in the end zone. When you're a fantasy owner, it doesn't matter at what point in the game he finds the end zone, as long as he finds it.
True facts right there. So here's another one, and he's probably from looking at the numbers here, he's a little bit slept on. Once they came out and said that Matt Stafford had a back issue, I think people sort of started to step away from drafting him. 42% rostered, 19% started in leagues. 40 points last week. Matt Stafford is a consummate professional. We were just talking about veterans a minute ago. Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco. I think right now he's probably the best veteran quarterback in the league at present. I'm not sure if there's anybody of that.
He, Flacco, and Rodgers are the last ones left.
I think so. I think that's sort of the end of it. And again, the wide receiver core he has is very, very solid. It's being led by Puka Nacua, who's just running roughshod on the league. So I expect that to continue. They're up against a hurting San Francisco 49ers team this week. If you have access, if he's floating around in waiver capacity, go find this guy, roster him, and by all means start him. I think he's going to have oh, man. These next 2 games are going to be good for him. Baltimore's also hurting.
Ooh.
Right? So take it for what it's worth. These next couple of games might be really solid games for Stafford and the LA Rams.
And to my Brock Purdy owners, get well soon, man. That was brutal. That was brutal the way Brock did y'all last week, man. I'm apologizing for him. That was bad. That was bad what he did against you guys versus the Jaguars. That was crazy.
So is he back yet, or is he? I think he's still.
No, he played last week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Didn't play particularly well, but he played. Because Mac Jones is hurt.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't win with these injuries, man. You just can't win.
The injury bug is brutal, man. And as respect for our team, man, hopefully we're getting healthy at the right time.
This is why, I was not a fan of the fact that the Bears had a bye week this early in the season. I was like, this stinks. You kind of want a couple more weeks to figure out, who you are and what you're really trying to do. But then came the injury bug early for the Bears. Bears got injured right out of the gate. Jalen Johnson's gone. Austin Booker doesn't start the season. The list goes on and on. And it just kind of Kyler Murray hasn't played all year. It's Kyler Gordon. It's been problems left, right, and center. So what do? You make your way through these first couple of games, see who you are and what's going on. You come out of that with a 500 record.
Yeah.
You get an extra week to rest. TJ Edwards as well. He's another name that's been hurt and hasn't been able to play all season. And then you get these guys back in full force. You get them back into form. And then you make a bit of a run while, again, all these other teams are hurting. So I think it might bode very well for these Bears of ours. But I digress. We'll keep a move. We'll step away from quarterback position. I think we've taken a good look at that. We're going to look at. Let's just keep moving right down the line. We'll look at running back. So everybody's saying Justice Hill because for some reason Derrick Henry hasn't been having the time of his life. Oh wow, I guess that's why they're saying Justice Hill. Jeez.
Yeah, Henry, it was a struggle last week, but they got behind so much, man. Running the ball was not even a factor. They got behind so it was so quick, man, and they couldn't stop anybody. And that's going to be Baltimore's issue for the remainder of the year, probably. They already had it, even when their defense was 100%. The history of the defense has always had trouble with speed, and as we know, Kansas City is full of that. Jokers might not be able to catch the ball, but they're very fast over there. You know what I'm saying? But now mm, it's a domino effect because the injuries are piling up and it's affecting everything that they do. And teams are clearly taking advantage of it. I mean, starting week one. I mean, Buffalo is Buffalo. Josh Allen is the MVP. But you don't Baltimore teams, well coached, disciplined teams, and have a lot of ability. They don't lose a lead like that unless there's an issue.
You're
So
damn straight. I don't. This like again for the. I think a lot of folks because I'm one of them. I think a lot of people had the Ravens likely being the AFC champs.
yeah.
That was my call early into this season. And starting out, I almost completely forgot about that Buffalo loss because it was such a high-powered football game. But an L is an L, right? So unfortunately, they lost that game. I also believe did they lose to Detroit too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in similar fashion, man, like they just have this issue with high power offenses, bro. I mean, we already know what these offenses are, bro. You know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, but usually Baltimore is a team, especially at home, when when these offenses come to play versus a team like Baltimore, they're a little bit shaken and stifled. They don't have these 30 and 40 point extravaganzas like this. That's what's been happening. You know,
Yeah, you're right. Traditionally, they don't.
yeah.
You don't see.
Regardless of who the quarterback is,
Yeah.
they're not allowing it. And the only strong win they had was versus Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns, and that's because they struggle to score.
You nailed it. So maybe the defense, the vaunted Ravens defense, ain't quite what it used to be or what it's cracked up to be. I think that's probably the moral of the story. So I think we've uncovered something completely different. If you're holding the Baltimore Ravens defense, which a lot of people would have jumped up and grabbed early in this year's draft, you know what I'm saying? Like a
Yeah.
lot of people, you might want to second guess holding on to that thing because what we've seen now is three pretty high powered offenses just run ruckshot over them. So,
Yeah, they on the clearance rack, man. They
yeah,
have to be. They have
buyer
to be.
beware, man. Buyer beware.
Beware. They have to
So,
be.
all right. So, Justice Hill's definitely somebody you should be looking at. And like, I'll say this out loud. I'm not a Justice Hill believer, but here's what I am a believer in. They ain't got no no Lamar Jackson. They're gonna be running the football twofold. It won't just be Derrick Henry all day long.
Mhm.
It will be a two-man back situation because it's a problem otherwise. So
Yes,
um,
indeed.
he's gonna get the rock. He's gonna run the rock. It's gonna work out to being decent numbers. What it do, Broly? What's up, man? He traded Nakua and Hampton and got Barkley and Derrick Henry. How bad did I just lose? Non PPR. What? Why would
Oof.
you trade the number one wide receiver in the league, though, brother?
Oof.
Like, I love those running backs you got. I don't know how a
But
single
that's
person.
all he got.
Well, maybe he doesn't have any backs. Like, that's all. That's all I can say. He got rid of Hampton, so he had Hampton, which is like Hampton's been doing good too. By the way,
Hampton's been rolling.
Why would you make that trade, Broly? You for real, Broly? Damn, Broly. I would not have made that trade, man. Yeah, I think you just lost in that trade. As
That's
much as
tough.
I love Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, I think you lost on that trade.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. What it do, Naj? What it do, brother?
That's tough. Ooh,
Sheesh. Ooh, that's
that's
a
tough.
that's a painful look.
And just another warning. Justice Hill broke out for a huge run at the end of the game and scored a touchdown. So just be careful before some guys sell out for Justice Hill. I mean, he can be a viable a viable back, especially in this situation. But don't get caught up in the numbers. Just look at the opportunities that could be there for him because he's very good in passing game as well. So yeah.
You're right. That is much more of what he is than the quote unquote bell cow back.
Hmm.
So then you got to look at the fact that they got Cooper Rush and he's going to want to outlet and check it down.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you're checking it down, Justice Hill's probably your better bet than Derrick Henry. So take it for what it's worth. He's going to see touches these next couple of weeks or however long Lamar is out. So worth your look. Broly says it felt like Cook, Henry would be, and Barkley would be a strong running back trio. Wide receivers: Amika Ibuka, Jamar Chase, and and QJ. Oh, Quentin Johnson. You needed to trade Jamar Chase. That was the
Yeah.
one that you needed to trade. You should have kept Puka Nakua, upped the ante, and said, you know what? I'll give you Jamar because Jamar don't have a quarterback anymore, and you'd be laughing. I bet you would have took it too, because real
Yeah.
talk, I probably would have taken it if I had the reason to make this trade. But
But Puka and Quinn Johnson would have been solid, bro. Ooh.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know what I mean? You live and you learn, no? You live and you learn. What more
Yeah.
can I say?
And
Um,
since we're
so
with the running backs now, New Orleans. Now we talked about New Orleans in the quarterback situation.
mhm.
Um, New Orleans has a very interesting running back situation because we all know Alvin Kamara. We know who he is. We know what he's about, especially in fantasy. We know that he has a high usage rate with New Orleans, but Kendre Miller has been solid. He was very good last week. But he's getting his opportunities and he's kind of, he's making a lot of them, especially like versus Buffalo. And we all know Buffalo can't stop the run. But this guy from TCU, he's a second year pro, very explosive. Very explosive. He runs hard, 6 feet, 220. Similar build like Alvin Kamara, but he may be a little bit thicker. But this guy gets it done. He can get it done in a run and with the pass. But this is a guy to look out for. He's going up against another team that loves to rush the quarterback. This we seen what Amari and Hampton did to the Giants last week. Kamara and Miller could do the same thing versus the Giants.
Heck, they could throw in. They could throw in. You might be able to throw Taysom Hill into that mix too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like generally, there's like a Taysom Hill game as well. This might
Hmm.
be that game. Um, the Giants, you're right, man. The Giants' pass rush is kind of nasty, and I expected it to be because they tripled down on the edge rush, and now they're just playing an edge rusher at 3 tech, and it's kind of a problem for teams. You got to
Yep.
keep your eyes open. So what do? You run the football right at those guys, and Kendre Miller might have something to say about it, right? He might put up a couple of numbers. 12 points last week alongside Alvin Kamara, who also got another 11 points. Um, say something sneaky here too. Have a feeling maybe they wind up trading this guy. Just putting that. Just putting that out there.
Hey man, look, it's not beyond the realm of reality. We have seen stranger things for sure.
And I know a football team that desperately needs a running back.
We
I'm just, I'm just, I'm just saying, they kind of have an out on his contract this year. This is sort of the year where there's a lull in his existing contract with respect to dollars and cents. So they may want to look at recouping some draft capital, because I don't know, I just don't see it happening in New Orleans this year. I don't see big things going on. But
and he
hey,
came and threw out the first pitch of the Cubs game.
oh, did he?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
Alvin Kamara. Oh yeah.
okay. Well, maybe he'll do it again next year.
Hey man, man. Shoot, if we can get him at the right time, maybe we can do it during the playoff run.
Ooh-wee. See what I'm saying? So that
Hey
would be an
man.
interesting little situation. Just to put it out there, give them the ability to sort of move on clean, and if you really think about this, it makes a lot of sense as to why they're giving a little bit of they're splitting snaps with this young man.
Yeah.
15 to 11, that's pretty high snap count given what he's been doing before. 5, 5, 7. They're ramping him up into the role, and potentially coming down from 21 rushes in games 2. Yeah, maybe they're ramping Alvin Kamara down.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this guy he has, if you took the numbers off the back of the jerseys and just gave these guys full, this is very similar running style, man. These guys are built the same and they run the same way. Alvin is a vet, so it looks a little it looks as if he runs a little harder, but this guy, he's on the come up, man. And it's definitely someone. He's a big, thick guy that's explosive, and going against a team like the Giants, not gonna be a lot of points there, bro. It's gonna be one of these like the old school football, 4 yards in a cloud of dirt.
That's it. You're right. It's gonna be an ugly football game.
Mhm.
And if I was a betting man, which I am, I wouldn't have anything to do with it because I don't know what's gonna happen with either one of these teams. I just got to put it like that.
But
Ugly.
the crazy thing, kids,
Hmm.
we talking about these games that should be um low scoring, they'll turn out and be damn barn burners, man.
They might. It might be. You're right. It
Man,
might be crazy. It might be a fiasco for everybody involved. Um, okay, wow. Just looking at the Superflex League here, man. Everybody's up for grabs. Naj, damn it. Naj is in the chat paying attention. Love you, brother. But there's all kinds of humanity here um, that is available for folks to do some damage with, man. So
yeah.
here's a couple of them. We will start with Woody Marks, who's not available. Um,
Mm, that's a good one too.
Yeah, so folks are very high on Woody Marks. Woody Marks up against Tennessee, 32 points this past week. Word on the street, speaking of injury as well. Geez. Uh, um, Joe Mixon, he may not make it back, right? He might not
At
make it back.
all?
Yeah, they're saying he might not make it back this season.
Wow.
There is a possibility he comes back late into the season. It's possible, but they're a little bit doubtful. So they're really giving Woody Marks his looks. What makes me mad, just gonna say this out loud for the world to hear, is I don't understand what happened to Dameon Pierce. I don't know what happened. He's been completely overlooked in this offense. It's
Mhm.
Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, I believe, and Dameon Pierce is just riding the bench for like a surfboard.
He's not even returning kicks anymore, huh?
I don't think he's returning kicks. I don't think he's doing very much of any. I have to check. Maybe they have him returning kicks.
I
Maybe.
think I think Woody Marks might slide up to be RB1, man.
Not a yard or a snap for the last 4 weeks for Dameon Pierce.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
He must have
He
fallen out of favor in some capacity. It is what it is, I suppose. But I thought he was a fantastic running back for his first couple of years.
solid, man.
Super solid. Got hurt, and then they brought in Joe, and you can't
Mhm.
really beat out Joe Mixon. He's a consummate professional. That being said, he's just never had the opportunity to get back out there. And now they got Woody Marks out there. So if y'all paying attention, Woody Marks is your guy. It's not Dameon Pierce, although many might have thought differently. Get yourself some Woody Marks. He's rostered in 40% of leagues, started in 18. Who else is out there that I trust? Rashad Smith, I actually do trust, but I'm going to go to somebody else for now. Rashad White is a definite look. If 45% roster, 7% started, with Bucky Irving potentially going down with injury and getting an MRI today. High potential for Rashad White to be the bell cow back in Tampa Bay over the course of the next week or two, depending on how long whatever issues are ailing Bucky are. So keep your eyes peeled for Rashad White in waiver wire if he's available for you.
Yeah. And honestly, man, I think that may be about it, man, because these other guys are not gonna get no play.
I'm looking across the board. There's guys who will get play, but I don't think they're going to be very impactful. Chris Rodriguez had a good week. We did touch on him last on. Wasn't that great? I thought it was better than it was. Okay.
He had one big run versus the Falcons.
Yeah, 48-yard run. That was
Mhm.
more or less the bulk of his showing. Sean Tucker, here's what I'll say. He's going to lose every single touch to Rashad White. They know what they need to know about him.
What are your thoughts on a guy like Devin Singletary?
Where is Devin right now?
He's with the Giants. Now, knowing their situation and where they're at, he scatterboo because Tracy's out. But he and Scatterboo, I think they're gonna share time. But we know, I think Scatterboo, especially on the short downs, Scatterboo is gonna get the bulk of the.
I just want to say I'm blown away by the fact that this young man is rostered in 93% of leagues and started in 75% of leagues. That's wild to me.
That's why I brought him up, man. That's why I brought him up.
He needed to be brought up. He needs a little bit more examination. Like, look at this. Week 1, they weren't sure. Nobody was sure.
Nobody.
But after week 1, they're giving Cam his go, and he's getting it done week on week on week. And I think he's going to continue to do so because he's that check down, and he's getting yak behind the check down. Like he's getting yak. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Cam's a real deal. Unfortunately, with him being the real deal, I just don't see it because I watched the first 2 New York games, and they did, like I'm saying, they did try to get Devin Singletary involved in those games, man, and it just wasn't what they needed. And out comes the young rookie, and away he goes. So I just don't see
instant impact.
Yeah, I don't see Devin Singletary really getting too involved in these upcoming games. Regardless, that's just my thoughts there. The only other guy that I'm going to talk a little bit about, and they have him on a downturn here, is this guy, Brashel Tootin. Terrible week for Brashel Tootin, and that's why he's on a downturn. So that makes perfect sense to me.
He wasn't healthy though. He's another guy that got hurt the week before.
Yeah. So why I'm bringing him up is slowly but surely, Travis Etienne is running out of favor in this backfield. So
He
if
had
you
a heck.
have him, you know what I mean? If you have him, I don't know. I don't know. You may want to pay. You may want to stash this guy on your bench and see what happens because it just doesn't seem to be working with Travis Etienne.
I don't know. Etienne had a heck of a couple weeks though.
We're gonna take a closer look. Let's take a closer look.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
had.
smokes. He had a great week this week. 3150. Man, I wouldn't be benching him.
Yeah, he looks very explosive, man, and I think that was part of the reason. I mean, it's for two reasons. The fact that Tootin has shown some promise, and the fact that Etienne just looks so good coming into the season, man. They decide to cut bait on Tank Bixby,
Mm-hmm.
and send him to Philadelphia, which is I haven't heard his name since,
Oh, you're not going to.
you know.
Right? They got Saquon Barkley. If they start playing Tank, it's just because Saquon Barkley's tired. So you might get a couple of snaps here and there. But
Yeah,
that's about it, right? It's that move was more of a move to keep a Tanks Bigsby away from other
other
potential
yeah.
teams, right?
Mhm.
That's really what that was. And that's how great GM moves. But I'll be honest with you here. I would still stash Bracial Tootin. It might be just a situation where Travis Etienne plays better with a little bit of competition. So far, it's looking decent for Travis Etienne. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, we'll leave running back alone. I think we beat that up just about enough. We'll take a closer look at the W and the R position and see what the wide receivers have to say. So right off the bat, everybody's looking at Darius Slayton to take over
Yes.
that Malik Neighbor spot. And I get it. Like I say, there will be a Darius Slayton game. It wasn't last week. Could heavily be against these here New Orleans Saints. So don't be surprised. Same things go for Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah. Slayton just has to catch the ball, man. You
Mm-hmm.
have to catch the ball. That's been his major issue why he hasn't been able to ascend throughout his career. He has very questionable hands.
Okay. Well, you are correct in that respect. Wish I could argue with it, but I cannot.
But I'm gonna tell you a sleeper, man.
Who?
Now we know Tyreek got hurt.
Yes.
This kid out of Virginia, Malik Washington, is very explosive. He gets probably about, when the Dolphins are playing some good football, he gets about five targets a game, and that's with Tariq in the lineup. But I've seen him on kickoff return, and I've seen, on times when he catches the screen pass. This guy is pretty explosive. He had some explosive runs against us, though it was again in preseason. He had some explosive plays against us in preseason. But this guy is something to watch, man. 5'8", 195 pounds. Tyreek's out. This is a guy that can come in and be very productive, especially against the Carolina Panthers.
Very interesting call on this here. So I'm going to full on co-sign this and agree. They're going up against those Panthers. I don't know what happened in Atlanta, but clearly there's problems in Atlanta. I would expect nothing more than a very breakout showing for a young Malik Washington. I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to do exactly that. Get used to catching the ball right now from Tua when there's no competition in front of you, right? You got Jalen on one side, you take over the other side, and away you go. I think you might be bad. I'm not saying let me make the world make sense. I'm not saying he's the next Tariq Hill. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that at all. I'm also saying that there may be a couple of tough games down the road, but maybe there aren't. These next 4 games I think Malik Washington has the opportunity to play some really good football and put up some really good fantasy football numbers. Carolina, the Chargers, um, Cleveland Browns, Atlanta Falcons. Right? Then they go up against Baltimore. Things start to get, and then Buffalo. Things start to get a little bit tougher towards the back end of the season. But the next 4 games might be worth a look. Might want to take a look at this guy. I'm just saying. That was a really, really interesting look there, D.
Mm-hmm. Another guy, since we just, what I'm saying, put it out there. A guy that's been kind of quietly, doing some things. Now we already know who the big dog is at receiving in Houston, but this guy Xavier Hutchinson, quite sneaky, man. They go against Baltimore this week. There's a chance, and then listen, fantasy owners, this is only when you're in desperate times at the receiver position, and you got to work this waiver wire. There are going to be guys like Hutchinson. There are going to be guys like Kendra Barn and guys like Tutu Atwell that's going to have opportunities. So this is just something to look out for.
So things to say. 0 rostered, 0 started. Nobody's got this guy on the radar. You may want to keep your eyes peeled because, again, that wide receiver core is a little bit weird. There's been a lot of injury in Houston. Yep. Nico Collins is the guy. He, as you said it, he's their number one. It's just what it is. What's unfortunate is, again, there's no more Stephon Diggs there, and what's his name is hurt. Tank Dell, my guy, Tank Dell. So he's been hurt for quite some time. That being the case,
there's money on the flow, ladies and gentlemen. There is money on the flow.
Somebody got to pick it up.
There's money on the flow, man.
Maybe it's Xavier Hutchinson. Not a bad look. Somebody does have to step into that role and start to pick up that money. So keep your eyes peeled. Worth a stash. If you have to start him, do so. Another guy that I hate to do this. I hate to talk about the Green Bay Packers, but I'm sure there's a Packers fan out there somewhere listening to the show. What's up, Crimson? What's going on, Naj? So Romeo Doubs, man. Romeo Doubs is really stepping into his own.
And honestly, outside of Jay Reed, Romeo Doubs is Jordan Love's favorite receiver.
But clearly, right?
This is not a secret, bro.
Clearly, right? This team has basically, I'm gonna maybe put it down to 5 or 6 WR2s, right? Like everybody's a wide receiver 2. The question is, who's wide receiver 1? I don't know, but if wide receiver 1 is simply, the guy who gets the most looks, then I think it may have by default turned into Romeo Doubs.
Listen, brother. For all you Packers fans, I'm not giving you no love. I'm just telling you the truth. What Kez just spilled out to everyone about the wide receiver situation in Green Bay, it baffles me why some of the Packer faithful still are so critical of the quarterback there. Now, I understand, hey man, y'all had about 30 good years of great quarterback play between Rodgers and Favre. But this young kid, Jordan Love, with the weapons at his possession, is doing some great things for you guys.
He's not terrible.
He's not.
It makes me mad to say that too, man. Right? Like all these things I'm saying, I'm not a fan of saying them, but it's true. He's not bad. He's a really decent quarterback. He was availed with the time to sit behind one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation, and he figured a couple of things out in that process. So,
and he's making guys look better than what they are. I honestly believe these guys are somewhere else. They'll be
wide receiver 3, if not 4.
Yeah, or returning punts and kicks.
You're right. You're
You know,
right.
and that's just my honest belief. But with Jordan Love at the helm and this Green Bay offense running the way it's running, of course we know about the tight end. The tight end has slid his way into the top 5 very easily.
Fire in the chat saying FGB, and I can't argue with that sentiment for a second. But you're right, man. These guys might not be the wide receivers that you would think that they are if it was somebody else. Jordan Love is a
Somebody else,
really
man.
solid quarterback. If he's available for you, grab him. But he's heavily rostered. This guy is not, though. So keep your eyes peeled. If he's available, he's definitely worth a look. I made the mistake of potentially selecting Matthew Gordon on at least one team, and Matthew Golden, my bad.
Golden,
And
yeah.
it does not seem to be the Matthew Golden show at all. It is
Can't find them. Can't
Nope.
find it, man. You know, they're sharing the wealth up there, man. They're sharing the wealth. No one's going to dominate too tough when it comes to, unless they get the matchup. You know, it's all about who the matchup is on. And, you know, with Jay Reed being hurt, you know, the other guys are kind of hit and miss. You know, Romeo Dobbs is actually one of the guys that he's been able to trust because I believe he may be the longest tenured receiver.
I think you might be right there. So Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, whatever happened to Christian Gonzalez, Christian Watson?
He's always hurt, bro.
Man,
He in street clothes. I seen him on the sideline wearing a big old chain, man.
then I guess it was a good thing we didn't draft him then.
You think?
All right, man, he ain't been right since he dropped that pass, and that was in week 1, game 1. Damn, just ain't been right. Okay, so like, yeah, there's some Packers wide receivers if you need them. By all means, look. This might be a good thing to talk about as well. I don't believe this one either. Isaiah Bond stepped in last week. Cedric Tillman goes out. So you may be looking at something here. These guys are up against the Minnesota Vikings, so I don't, I'm gonna move away from Isaiah Bond real quick.
But Dylan Gabriel, yeah.
You might want to look at it. You also might want to stay as far away from that game as possible, especially with the way Roberts is playing, because he's a defensive nightmare.
But you know, it's gonna be a heavy blitz situation, so it's gonna be some screen passes there.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be tough for Dylan Gabriel, man. It's gonna be tough.
Okay, Khalil Shakir is starting in, but he's heavily rostered, so not too much to talk about with Khalil.
Yeah, you have to know about him.
Like I would no look Sunday despite more snaps. That's shocking. This kid's Jalen Hyatt. This kid's real good. I don't know why he didn't get any looks.
He can't catch, man.
Okay. All right.
He can't catch.
All right.
He got the drops, man. You don't catch the ball, man, and not gonna look your way, man. He's fast. He has all that, but at the end of the day, man, you got to catch the ball.
Here's one. I don't believe this guy's so holy smokes. 3% rostered, 1% started. Luke McCaffrey. I think it's because he looks, smells, and feels much more like his dad than his brother. That's really what this is all about.
Well, Luke had a pretty solid game versus Atlanta, but you gotta look at it. The quarterback what the quarterback situation is right now is not, even though Mariota can sling it a little bit, but it's not very heavy on the pass, and Mariota's gonna be running, and they're having so much success on the ground. Luke is very opportunistic. You know, when he gets his opportunity to see the ball come his way, he usually takes advantage of it.
Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for Luke McCaffrey. He's out there In leagues, clearly nobody's rostering him.
But if he was anything like his dad, his roster usage would be at 100.
You are right. I'm just saying he looks like his dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just kind of hokey, but not to take anything away from his dad because his dad was a beast when he got on the football field.
But
So
there will be opportunities because Noah Brown will be out, man. Noah Brown is not playing
jeez.
For Washington. And it's gonna be some opportunities for him, but they
And
just
so
haven't.
same with Terry McLaurin. So if Noah
Mm-hmm.
Brown and Terry McLaurin are gone, it's really gonna be the run game courtesy of Marcus Mariota, the run game / short check down game, gimmick game courtesy of Deebo Samuel and
Yeah.
Luke McCaffrey. So there's going to be an uptick in Luke McCaffrey's usage. Keep your eyes peeled. Like I'm saying, ain't rostered anywhere. If you need a wide receiver, good look. Luke's a good look.
Yeah.
I will touch on this guy as well. You know, he's on the thumbnail. This guy's really starting to come into his own. And I think we've talked about him a couple of weeks in a row now. It's been at least 2 weeks in a row. Quentin Johnson is really starting to get the job done with the Chargers. Got himself a fantastic quarterback. The reality here is people are starting to key in on Keenan Allen, the consummate Pro Bowler, right? Former Chicago Bear. And leaving this guy wide open. So it's a huge difference. When Keenan left and they gave him the opportunity to be WR1, it was a bit of a problem. Now everybody's cluing into you and watching you and double teaming you. Since Keenan's returned, huge difference in output for Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to pay attention to.
And for my Lag McConkey owners, stay in it. Stay in the fight. Last week was a funky week. You know, you just got to charge it to the game. The Giants made passing very difficult on Sunday. And, you know, it was just a bad game for the Chargers offensively altogether, except on the ground. But stay in the fight, you Luke, you Lad McConkey owners. Stay in the fight. He's still the same guy. Last week was just a bad week for him.
Speaking of bad weeks, so we did touch on Chris Godwin just a little bit earlier into the show. He's back, targeted 10 times, not really the output that you want. I'm not so sure he's going to have the output that you want next week either. But it's Chris Godwin. I was saying earlier on that Darius Slayton has a game here and there. Chris Godwin has a heck of a lot more than just a single game. He's going to have a lot more than that. It's just a matter of getting on getting his feet yet wet, getting used to being back out there playing again. It's been a little while. Once he's out there, especially now in more or less a wide receiver one role again, I think he's going to have a huge impact. I'm just not so sure it's going to be against the Seattle Seahawks this week.
Yeah. Lad played going back to Lad McConkey. They play Washington this week. So there is a chance. You seen what Penix was able to do to the Commanders.
To the Commanders defense, you are correct. So it might be a really good week for Lad McConkey and Quentin Johnson as well. As well as Keenan Allen. And
Justin Herbert has to rebound from the showing last week. That was bad. That game was on him last week.
Man, all three of those wide receivers and it's for the Chargers are heavily rostered in leagues. So doubtful that you'll find them out there on waivers, but definitely worth a conversation nonetheless. But I think we've touched on most of these wide receivers that okay.
Pretty much.
Sterling Shepard might be a good look again with Mike Evans out. Not Cedric Tillman. He is injured, but who was I just looking at? Who was I just looking at? This is who I was looking at. I wanted to see if anything. Damn, it's just not working out with the young rookie quarterback over in Tennessee. It'll be a little while.
Yeah, I had a conversation about that last night. Young boy go out there and drop that egg like that. Just imagine if Caleb did that. The things they would say.
Oh, the things they've already said, right? Yeah, like, well, where do we go from
But
here?
this kid can do it and get away with it and not a peep.
That's because there's, you know, why that is, right?
Yeah.
He ain't in Chicago. That's all it is. It's really all it is. You put a rookie, and we've seen it 3 times. This is rookie number 3. Right. You put him in Chicago, that media will eat you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's that, right? So, you know,
Yeah.
that's all it is. In Tennessee, I'm sure the Tennessee media is just happy that they have a quarterback selection, period. So they might leave him alone for at least a solid year, let him get ramped up. But
Yeah.
is what it is. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say about this here. These Geno Smith owners beware. I'm a little bit worried about Geno Smith as well as this entire wide receiver core. So keep your eyes peeled on that as well. I just kind of wanted to put another bad guy warning out there for what's going on.
Well, one thing about Gino and that team, when it comes down to passing the football, they're going to maintain their aggressiveness. They're going to be aggressive.
You are
And
correct.
more than times than not, depending on who they played coach this week, they're going to be in situations where he's forced to throw the ball.
Um, Here's one. So I'm not really stepping off of out of wide receiver, but I just happened to see Darren Waller and totally forgot that he was in Miami now.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a fantastic game this past week, 17 points. Rostered in 12% of the league, started in 3, so he's generally available across the board. With Tyreek Hill down, there's going to be some requirement for outlets. So we already talked about Malik Washington potentially having a bit of an uptake. A lot of that uptake might wind up going to this guy here too, right? Instead of stretching the field completely down, perhaps a little bit more check down action to a guy like Darren Waller, who's got a huge catch radius. So,
Huge.
right, and end zone work as well. So that's a little 2 cents there with respect to Darren Waller. I'm just going to take a quick peek at the tight ends across the board. Mason Taylor starting to trend up. Let's see why. It's like I had a feeling Justin Fields was going. Yeah, we're going to click and connect, and it's starting to happen now that Justin is back. Justin's gone for 2 games, 3 games. It's a problem. Now he's back, and it's things are starting to normalize. So you might want to keep your eyes on a Mason Taylor if you need a tight end. Peanut butter skin. I have to say it every time. Shout out Jason Whitlock. Who else I got? Bretton Strange. Yeah, Bretton Strange.
Evan Ingram came back last night.
I heard something about that too. That's the next
Mm-hmm.
guy I got to check up into. Bretton Strange is having a good season, y'all. It's starting to be a thing. I'm as much as I'm sort of in question about the whole Jacksonville Jaguars situation, one thing is for sure, there has to be a check down. There's got to be a tight end, and Bretton Strange is that tight end.
Yeah, listen, for you, Strange is going to get he gets a lot of looks. So that's a great call, kids. Another one to look into. We all know where George Kittle is. He's on the mend. Jake Tungus out of California. This is a guy had a breakout game last week. He
Oh
is.
snap! So he's right now the replacement for George Kittle.
Yes. Listen, 5 targets, 58 yards with a
That's a good day
touchdown.
at the office, brother. That's a good day at the office.
With a
Hey, for a tight end.
touchdown.
Wow. Okay.
With a
Yeah.
touchdown. This is a guy for you, tight end starved um guys out there. Tungus is a guy that you may
Virtually
want.
unrostered. Oh, it's saying he's questionable for this week, but keep your eyes peeled if he's available. Again, virtually unrostered. If you need a tight end, not a bad look with George Kittle down. Evan Engram, on the other hand, he is back. I don't see great numbers here. Again, we're talking about Evan Engram, so I'm gonna sort of ignore that. I
Mm-hmm.
am also gonna say that Bo Nix is a young QB, right? And
Yeah.
those young quarterbacks love tight ends. It's just the facts of the matter. Have to have that safety blanket, and it's generally in the form of a guy who can quickly block, get off a block, and get in open space. Do what he
And,
does after that. We'll see what happens. But
Ingram's ability has never been in question. It's always his availability that kind
yeah,
of wrecks him a little bit.
yeah, that's why I'm
Um
ignoring these numbers.
Another disclaimer I'm gonna put out here. All you David and Joku owners, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Um, I wouldn't say, him being your tight end one, but if you're desperate, why not? He can break out at any moment. And I think this could be a good moment for him versus the Vikings. And the young QB starting. Young QBs, like you said, love tight ends. And Joku could be a very warm safety blanket for a guy like Dylan Gabriel.
Okay, all right, man. I just miss I miss Jameis Winston over here. I think he'd be the perfect guy to really step in this particular week, bring a little bit of veterancy, and him and Njoku had a good connection as well during his time there. But
Mm.
such is life, rookie, and next man up, and it looks like it's a rookie. So we'll see how that affects folks. But you are correct. I would, if you got to go Cleveland Browns this week, this is
Yeah,
probably the Cleveland Brown to select.
yeah. I got a question. Is
Mm.
Isaiah likely scheduled to come back this week? I mean, though he's with Baltimore and we know their situation, but that's a guy that's missed by the Baltimore offense, Isaiah Likely.
So he was back last week.
Okay.
This in week 4, he came back. So yeah, I gotta just kind of laugh at it. He's back. He's available out there in leagues. 26% rostered, 3% started. You can find Isaiah Likely. Worst come to worst, the downside is Lamar Jackson's gone. So I don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if this is the week to do that. It might be next week or maybe the week after. Whenever Lamar gets back, Isaiah Likely is going to be a problem. Outside of that, I just
It,
don't know. See,
it'd be nice if you stay gone, you know what I'm saying, beyond the Bears game.
yeah, that would not be a terrible thing. You know what I'm saying? That would not be a terrible thing. So we'll leave that there. I think that's kind of the tight end position in a nutshell. I
Yeah.
want to look at the downside of it, see if there's anything to talk about here. How you got Zach Ertz on it down? Like it's kind of a consummate professional. That's just a quarterbacking issue. If you're a Zach Ertz guy, hold strong. If you are a Harold Fanning guy, I would also say similar things as to what we just said about David Njoku. Might be
Mhm.
the two guys to keep on your roster if you desperately need a Cleveland Brown. But I think we just about covered it all. Naj said he needed a tight end, so we kind of got through that. Yeah, that's more or less. I think that's more or less the show. We'll move towards the end of all these things. We'll start to shut her down. But give a big shout out to everybody for coming through. So spent a little bit of time with me and my man D. We chopped it up. I think we got some good looks on what we should be doing this week in fantasy football, what the last week looked like. Some of these matchups are going to be wild. The waiver wire is pretty crazy. But, do you want to give any shout-outs on our way out?
Hey, man. Peace to you, kids. Peace to the platform. Peace to everyone that checked us out tonight. Shout out to chats. Shout out to the people in the chat. Shout out to Tracks. I seen them in there. Shout out to all you guys. Yeah, I seen them and I seen it pop up a little bit and it went down. Yeah, man. Appreciate spitting these fantasy facts with you, man, as always this week. Before I ride out. From a kicker standpoint, I know we don't go all the way there, but this is important because you can get points. Listen, I'm talking to the desperate fantasy guy that needs points any way possible. Tampa Bay's kicker is available in some of these leagues. He's been putting up huge numbers the last 2 weeks. Definitely a guy you should get into, especially with a week that's coming up for them. I think it still rolls on to play a team like Seattle. Field goals are going to be at a premium for him and them. So it's another way you guys can stack up points. But other than that, man, peace and love to everybody. Shout out to Nomad. Shout out to, everybody. That's it.
Sweet. You know what? We totally ignore the kicker position. So shout out to all the kickers out there in the world. But, I'll just leave it to Tracks because, kickers. Carlos Santos is a guy. McLaughlin is a guy. Dicker is a guy. There's some kickers doing some serious business, and they do deserve some love, man. These 60-plus bombs are happening on a weekly basis. The other thing that's happening strangely in this league is a lot of blocked kicks. So take it for what it's worth. Speaking of blocked kicks, my birthday on Sunday. Bears win on Sunday.
Happy belated, brother.
Thank you, sir. I'm about to give a little bit of love to Samo, Big Samo out there. It's his birthday about a week past. Happy belated, Samo.
Happy belated, Samo.
Shout out to Tracks. Tracks gave me a little bit of love, some birthday love as we went through. That being the case, man, survey says one more W for the good guys, man. One more win. It's taken into week 5. Peace.
Peace.